Scott, and this is a vintage Rickenbacker from the 60s. It's a 12 string, and I'm going to be making a new nut for it today. And the reason I wanted to post this video is because I've never really made a Rickenbacker 12 string nut before. It's going to be my first time. And it's weird because the Rickenbacker 12 string, with the pairs of strings on the bass, the octave string isn't on the bass side, on the top of each fundamental note. It's below, on the treble side of each. So when you strum down, you hit the lower string first. And I always thought that was strange, because all the 12 strings I've ever owned are the other way around, where the high string is up here on top. And when you strum down, you hear that pluck of the high string, and it sounds so good. I can't imagine having it any other way, but that's the way they did it. So let's do it. So a lot of my customers have been asking about this guitar. They come over to drop off their guitar, and they come back to pick it up, and they're like, how's that project going with the old Rickenbacker 6-string? Because they see it sitting there like this, and all they see is the 6 holes. But if you look at it from the side, you'll see there's another 6 holes. And the headstock was cracked, and it had these big cracks here. I'll show you a before picture of what it looked like then and what it looks like now. I had to get out the airbrush with a little cherry red and then do some clear lacquer coats on top, and now it's all buffed up and ready for the tuners to go back in. But the old nut was really bad. I'm going to get that out for reference, and I'm going to get out my 12 string electric guitar out for reference as well. So I'm going to take this bone blank, and I'm just going to draw around and take it down to the power tools. A lot of guys pride themselves on using hand saws and stuff for this, and I think that's crazy, because I bought a bandsaw, so I won't have to get out the hand saw. As long as the bandsaw working, I'm going to use it. And this is a nice bone blank. I do have one fancy tool I'm going to use for shaping out the top. So this tool I made, I think I was inspired by Carlos. He's just south of U.S. border, El Paso. He's down in Mexico. And he made one, and I copied him off of Instagram. It's just one of those giant lead pencils stuck into a piece of wood. Anyways, you can ride it right along the frets, and you can draw out the top edge. So I always put a little mark here where the bass side is. I put 2 little dots, that way I don't get confused. And I can just shape that on the disc sander and cut this on the bandsaw, and we'll be to second base in a minute. Like I'm saying, a lot of guys pride themselves in they want to be an old world craftsman, and they want to work by candlelight with hand tools and stuff like that. I'm not that way. Check this out. This light switch is connected. I got all my LED lights plugged in over here. It's kind of like a remote light switch. You can buy these on Amazon. That's like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Also, down here, this is a blast gate. This is all connected to my shop vac. I've got 3 different power tools hooked up to this vacuum line, and I open this blast gate for the bandsaw, and I close off the other ones, one for the drill press and the other one for the bench grinder. Now I'm going to move over to the bench grinder. So now I'm over here. I'm going to open up this blast gate. That's the vacuum down there. Just a $60 Home Depot job. I've got it connected to a foot switch. So now I'm going to move over to the drill press. The drill press, right here, here's the blast gate. Right here. So I'll open that up, and then the drill press is on this one. Well, so far I haven't used any elbow grease, and I've got a rough fit. I'm looking at the old nut, and these strings were far too close together. This is acceptable over here, I would say. Maybe even a little too close together. No, this is okay right here. I think I'm gonna maybe go 60 thousandths. See the dial? There's 50 thousandths, here's 60. I might go 60 on these and work my way down to about 40 thousandths down here, which is still pretty narrow. Maybe I should just split the difference and do them all at 55. I've got another 12 string over here to look at. It's got a much wider neck though. This has 42 millimeters. Let's look at the other one. Always been really happy with the setup on this one. This one's way wider though. It's 47 millimeters. Wow, that's a wide one. No wonder. But the pairs have a distance of about 70 or 80 thousandths over here, and then they get a little smaller, down to 50 thousandths between the pairs. So let's maybe start off with 50 over here, and what I say, 55? We'll kind of keep it between 55 and 50, I want to say. Yeah. The other thing about the old one is that the octave was near the outside edge, and we're going to do this one with the lower string, the thicker string on the outside edge. They were right on the edge, pretty much. I mean, they were really close to the edge with the strings. I'm going to come in a little bit. I'm not going to come in as far as I typically would. I usually come in to the 8 right there, but on this one I'm going to come into this mark right there. I'll do the same thing on this side, and then I'm going to look at it as if it was a 6-string guitar over here at the other bench. Alright, I've established my 2 outside strings. This one's going to be 10 thousandths, and this one I already slotted it for 46 thousandths. So I got my gap here between the pairs at 55 approximately, and over here I'm going to go 50. So this is going to be the outside edge of the string. This smaller string is a 26 right here. So I'm going to go right in the middle of that line with the razor saw, or what do you call this, X-Acto saw, and work my way up to the 26. We've got our 46 thousandths wide slot for the low E and 26 for its octave pair. Over here we've got our 2 10 thousandths of an inch strings right here. So these outer strings are established. And now I can get my string spacing rule. Here I am with the string spacing rule. This is very crammed. It's a very small, narrow spacing. And this is just the, this will be the gap between the pairs right here. It's going to be about 50 thousandths wide on each, roughly. Little more, little wider of a gap over here on the treble side, a little smaller of a gap over here on the bass side. Alright, and I can caliper that. Just get a close-up. I want to be around 50 thou. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That one's a little skinnier, but yeah, we're about 50 thou. Now I can just go on either side of that marking to start my strings. Now once I put this on the guitar, I can fudge it a little one way or the other if it looks weird. I can go in, I can go out. Like this might be a little wide of a gap here. I'm going to go in, then I'll measure that. And it's about 55. So I'm just doing it by eye. Doing it by eye, guy. The G string is the first string that has a little octave pairing to it. But let's not forget, the thinner string is going to be on the treble side of it, and the thicker string on the bass side, because this is the Rickenbacker way. This one must go over here on top, because it's cut off. Getting started with the strings. If you want to make one of these for shaping your nuts, drill the hole at kind of an angle like that. And these mechanical contractors pencils, they're about 110 thousandths of an inch lead. That's about 3 millimeters. They're pretty fat. You can get them on Amazon. Oh yeah, big old fatties. Got the strings on her. I've also taken my pencil and marked around here a little bit, and I'll show you how I finesse that down to the exact proper shape. My string spacing is acceptable already, but I've determined that these two pairs can be fudged this way slightly for a more exact and uniform spacing. But so far so good. It's kind of weird down here because there's only 6 holes. I thought that was strange. I started to think maybe they replaced this tailpiece with a 6-string tailpiece and they have the 12-stringer floating around somewhere, because I had to kind of double ball the pairs of strings, you know, slide one string through the ball of the other and then slide them down in the holes. It's kind of weird, but it's working, at least for now. This is how I fudge the string over. Just an eyelash. It'll look a little funny until I do my final shaping of the top of the nut. And at that point, I'll just do it little by little. But after I take the excess off the top, once I get to my final depth, it'll look normal. And I'll do that for these 2 strings, and then I'll do my final. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of the likes and shares that you guys have been giving. It's been really awesome, man. Let's compare both of these 12-string guitars. We got the the one that's worth $1 bazillion, the brand new strings, and we got my old J tercer over here that's worth nothing with 5-year-old strings on it. We'll just do a little. Not too bad, huh? This is the Funhouse Mirrors guitar. If you guys are interested in hearing my old band, it's called Funhouse Mirrors. Just Google it. And yeah. If you like the sound of these pickups, these are Guitar Madness humbucker-sized P90s. You can get them on eBay. They sound good in 6-string or 12-string guitars. But especially, they sound jingle-jangly for the 12-string.